Athletics, the great leveller. What could be more inclusive than a sport that, at least in many events, requires no equipment at all, other than a pair of running shoes? Some countries favour football, others rugby. For some reason, the national sport in my own country is cricket. But running is a thing for everyone, right? Surely there should be no cultural boundaries. Running is possible everywhere. But yet, at the elite level, audiences seem the same nations dominate the same events year on year. With some notable exceptions, Jamaicans love sprinting, Kenyans love long distance.
Hens love roosters, geese love ganders, everyone else loves Ned Flanders.
The first example that comes to mind is the women's 100-metre final from the Berlin World Championships in 2009. 8 runners made up of 3 nationalities and half the field was Jamaican. And this is down to a huge range of reasons, be it the amount of money a federation spends, access to facilities, how ingrained the sport is in national culture, different physiological makeups of different people, population sizes, how easy it is to earn money, or whether it is your country decides to follow the Lance Armstrong take on the phrase winning at all costs. Anyway, a variety of reasons have led to the point where we often see the same countries topping the medal table year after year, whether it be the USA or possibly maybe Russia or Kenya did once or twice. We have a landscape where the most powerful nations produce the greatest number of world-class athletes. Some countries, considering their respective wealth and population size, are not pulling their own weight. But on the whole, we have a rough scale from countries with a large number of resources who dominate on the world scale to those who'd be where you'd expect a country of that size to be. This is not an insult to anyone or any country. Not every nation can have 4 women in the 100-metre final, after all. But now and again, some lone riders buck the trend. Time and again, we have seen examples of under-resourced countries that have produced one and one only athlete who has made it to a world-class level. Just for fun, here are my top 5 countries who have only ever produced one individual carrying the hopes of a nation. Let's start this list with some ground rules. Of course, there are thousands of reasons as to why these individuals have made it to a world-class level and their fellow countrymen and women have not. And it's not to say they are the only athlete who has competed at a championship level for their country. These are athletes who I would consider to be alone in being irregular on the international stage in recent times. And there is no qualification here other than they would genuinely be considered to be world-class. And as for who is in the top 5, I have decided based on their achievement as an athlete and just how much they dominate their respective national scenes. It is just for fun, and sorry if I've forgotten someone. This list does not include transferees. I am not including countries such as India or China, which should be doing better in athletics, but do have more than one athlete. Some contenders, such as Mexico, have only one notable athlete, but do have some history. Athletics is a truly global sport, but some countries are more global than others. To begin with, here are some athletes I considered for the list, but fell just short of the top 5. Pulling the weight of Uruguay is Emiliano Lassa, a long jumper who's had significant international success. Over the border in Argentina is German Cavalico, a world youth champion, and from Congo, look no further than Frank Elemba. You really can't miss him. Researching this list has been eye-opening. I am indebted to Wikipedia for having a complete list of national records for every single country. I neither knew that Cameroon, for example, had a woman who'd run under 11 seconds for 100 metres. So Miriam Leone, there you are. And that is kind of a shame because I was actually looking forward to speaking at some length about Françoise Mbango-Itone. Maybe I can find an excuse to shoehorn her into another video, perhaps the top 5 triple jumpers from Yaoundé in Cameroon. Yeah? Anyone up for that? Okay, let's get on with the top 5. For a country which has produced the man who bossed world athletics for so long, Senegal has rarely produced a top athlete. For example, Amadou Gakou has finished 4th at the 1968 Olympics over 400 metres, and Sheikh Touré has a few world top 10 finishes, although he did later change nationality to become French. One name stands out when one thinks of Senegal and athletics, and it is unfortunately Lamine Diack. And that is a pity because it is forgetting the achievements of Amy Mbacké Thiam. At the Edmonton World Championships in 2001, Thiam sprang a surprise to win the women's 400 metres, pipping the supposed bigger names of Jamaica's Lorraine Fenton and Ana Guevara. Her time of 49.86 remains her PB, and she would later become African champion and make the 2005 World Final. She was also the heart and soul of the Senegal 4x400 metre team, and her career stretched from the mid-90s until her final championships in Moscow 2013. For a country with the population size of Coventry, Iceland is certainly pulling its weight in terms of football. Please don't remind me about this because we are visiting this small state to discuss its greatest ever athlete, Aníta Hinriksdóttir. Aníta Hinriksdóttir is certainly one I would like to see make a comeback. For several years, the now 25-year-old was the next big thing over the women's 800 metres. With a unique running style, a brave tactic of front running, and incredible talent, Aníta is certainly fun to watch. She picked up gold medals in the prestigious Small States of Europe Games, left, right and centre. She also has a stunning palmares. She's the Icelandic national record holder at 4 distances, and her PB of 2 minutes exactly from the 2016 Olympics is genuinely world class over 800 metres. She has not progressed that much in terms of time since those games, and the last few years she has been somewhat absent on the international stage. Her last action on social media was posted more than a year ago, but suggested she is trying to progress her career, and I do wish her the best. At 3, we have another 800 metre runner, and one with an even quicker PB. Noelie Yarigo has been carrying the Benin flag for what feels like years now, and the 35-year-old is a quality runner with a PB of 1:59.12. Yarigo has been increasingly seen as a pacemaker on the Diamond League circuit, but remains an exceptional runner and qualified for the Tokyo Olympics. And her mark on Benin athletics is exceptional. She is the national record holder at all the events you'd expect, but also the 10,000 metres on the road. Yarigo has also competed in the 4x400 metres for her country. At 2 is the only man on this list, but he is a guy you will recognise. Ernest Obiena is a world-class pole vaulter, and he is someone who has been unlucky enough to have been born into the greatest pole vaulting era of all time. Had he been competing in, let's say, 2005, he would probably have been a world medalist. For a sports-mad nation of 109 million, he is surprisingly the only athletics name of note. No Filipino woman, for example, has broken 23 seconds for 200 metres. Having set his personal best of 5.93 earlier this year, Obiena is the real deal and improving all the time. Who wouldn't bet against him winning a world medal? Just maybe not the gold. Alright, there could only be one winner, couldn't there? I mean, let's face it. Maria de Lourdes Mutola is, in my controversial, unpopular opinion, the greatest women's 800 metre runner of all time. Why is it all women's 800 metre runners on this list? Can anyone help me out? Yes, there are arguments against this, but in terms of longevity, success, times and impact, does anyone else, apart from Caster Semenya, come close to Mutola in her impact on the women's 800 metres? Mutola has won 21 major gold medals and has a best of 1:55.19. At her best, she was unbeatable. She was a world-class athlete from 1990 up until 2008. Whether or not she's the greatest ever is up for debate, but it is a less controversial call to say she is the best from Mozambique. I've drawn attention to other athletes' national records, but nothing compares to the dominance this one woman has on her country's Wikipedia list. Just look how often her name appears, all the way from 200 metres up to 3,000. And when she retired from running, Mutola captained the Mozambique national football team. Ladies and gentlemen, what an athlete. She's now coaching Caster Semenya, in fact. And there could be no question as to who should be number 1 on this list of countries with one notable athlete. So that concludes another countdown you didn't know you needed, and now that you've seen the video, you definitely know that you didn't need it. Feel free to point out any omissions I have made, and maybe I forgot that Antoinette Di Martino is actually from San Marino, Or that Monaco's Bryce Tez became world champion and it really just passed me by. If you enjoyed this video, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'll see you next time.